If you want to have this be the year where you finally meet the love of your life. Throughout the video, I'm going to be sharing 7 trends that translate into specific habits that can help you finally have in your life, in your orbit, in your presence, the person you'll spend the rest of your life with. I recently shared with the subscribers of my weekly newsletter a concept that is going to be foundational in the things I'm going to be sharing with you today. If you want to find the love of your life, if you want to not take years, but take months or perhaps even weeks to create that same result, you have to be willing to shake things up. You have to be willing to do things differently than you have in the past. You have to be willing to be open to new ideas, new ways of connecting, new ways of expressing, new ways of shining. And if you're watching this video, I'm going to take a wild guess that you want something to shift. You want this to be the year where you finally meet the love of your life instead of a year where you kind of did it, but it didn't happen. So the things I'm going to be sharing right now are trends that are happening in today's world that you can lean into to make the best out of what's happening in this moment. The first one is, if you take a look around you, after the pandemic, after the way the world has been for the last few years, where it's been inundated with electronic communications, with things that put us further away from real human touch. I was talking about this with one of my mentors recently, is real in-person experiences. People want to buy a book, physical hardcover, open it, smell it, read it under a tree, more so than just open up their phone and read it on their iPad. People are looking for an experience of in-person feeling, sensing, being on the heat of a campfire, going to a beautiful restaurant and enjoying it instead of just ordering in. People right now are seeking real human touch, physical connection. You can get, for a monthly subscription of $10 in iTunes, an entire album, or you can pay $25 for an actual LP that you can open and put on your turntable and hear the scratchy sound of the needle against the record and enjoy that, because that is something that people are leaning into right now. The best thing you could do this year is to go out and meet human beings where they are, is to stop just looking at your apps and saying, I'm going to create organic connections like I never have before. And there's 2 ways to do this. One is to shift the energy inside of you to the energy of aliveness, the energy of passion, the energy of possibilities, the energy of openness, the energy of radiance. And that's not something you just do when you go out. That's something you do in your own life. So when you go out, there's more of you to share. The other thing is, with that energy, go to the places you haven't gone to. There's a meetup that's been waiting in your list for maybe months and you haven't tested it, test it. There's an event taking place in that 30-minute away from you city, go to it. There's going to be a party that you may be invited to that you feel a little tired, but you end up saying yes to, and perhaps it's a place where you meet the person you'll spend the rest of your life with. The message here is simple. Go in person as much as possible to create connections on places that you haven't tested or tried before, with the energy of hope and possibilities, not because you're sure you're going to find the person in that setting, but because you're committed to experiencing the love that you want now. Second trend we need to tap into is, as the algorithms of the world create content that looks more and more the same and bring up content to your feeds, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, that kind of looks and sounds the same, people are searching and craving emotional expression. So what does that mean to you? The biggest area of opportunity, emotional expression, is to be more unique, to be more bold, to lean into what you really want and who you really are, and your quirkness, your differences. It's okay if you say I like all sorts of music, but there's one that you like more, and there's a reason for it. Lean into that. There's a way of dressing that isn't the same as everybody else's, that's more uniquely yours. It's a little more courageous. Some people won't like it, but the right person will find you from the crowd, identify you, and say, wow, that woman is for me. So I want to make sure that in this year, you really lean deeply into 1, 2, 3, 5% more of who you really are, more of your uniqueness, your differences, your passions, the things you love and the things you hate, so that you can stand out from the beigeification of the planet into something that is a bold, bright, beautiful color that shines the essence of you. The third trend that I'd love for you to tap into is I want you to ditch the small talk and go for depth. Again, because algorithms are in charge of what you see and what you don't see. Things sound and feel and look the same, but what human beings are craving for more truth and depth. So there's nothing wrong if you spend an entire day talking about small talk and what you do for a living and where do you live and where were you born. Those things are essential. But how about if you ask a different question instead? How about if instead of just spending 20 minutes discussing nothing, you interject with a question like, tell me what's most meaningful to you right now in this moment in your life? What is life about for you these days? What do you feel most passionate about? You can ask, what do you do for a living? Or what about what you do for a living makes you feel most alive? Tell me more about you. Tell me more about what you love. Tell me about what makes this world worth living for a human being like you. If you're able to stop thinking about the reaction of the other human being, but lean into the ability to go for depth combined with silly things. I'm not saying just be serious on a date or just go for depth. I'm saying if you have the range of going for depth and playfulness and flirtiness and seriousness all in one evening, that's going to be something that's going to be far more compelling for the person you're with, far more memorable, and far more enriching for you. Go for emotional connection. Emotional connection is not created through superficial, high level BS. It springs from connecting the essence of you to the essence of another human being and being willing to take a risk, being willing to mess up, being willing to be found weird. But in that pursuit, perhaps finding someone who highly resonates, or better, wakes up to life as a result of finding you and finding that part of you that is deeply alive and present and different. The next trend that is not exclusive to 2025, but definitely works this year, is take a step back to figure out what's not working. I see a lot of human beings out there who are trying to address the symptom and not the problem. Symptom, all the guys I date want to have sex with me. Problem, I'm not sure how to set boundaries early and often so that it doesn't happen. Symptom, I find no one attractive around me. The actual root cause of that is maybe I'm deeply afraid of connecting with someone, so I'm finding everyone not attractive, or I need to readjust my priorities, or I need to put myself out there in different settings. The problem is that we're trying to solve the problem through the symptom. So we need to take a step back right now and recognize, where are we falling short? What are the blind spots we have that are preventing us from taking the specific action we need and are having us take actions that keep us on a hamster wheel? Now, there's a couple of ways to do this. One is to get expert guidance and help. Another way that would be far simpler for you and free is you can take my free quiz. I created a quiz based on helping women for over 14 years now to find the love of their lives. And you can take this in about 60 seconds. And if you do, it's going to reveal to you the real root cause, the number one reason why you're still single. If you want to participate, all you have to do is go to the first link in the description. You're going to find a page that looks like this. Answer a few simple questions, and within 60 seconds, you'll get two things: the answer to the elusive question why you're still single, and a report based on your specific blind spot that's going to share with you the number one action you can take today to attract the human being you want to spend the rest of your life with in a fraction of the time. Another trend that works particularly well in 2025 is because there's so much information out there, because there is so much noise in the crowd, both digitally and in the news and in TV shows. There's so much coming at us that if you really want to stand out, you need to practice presence. People are so unfocused these days. People are so all over the place, so in their minds, in their heads, not in their hearts. So what happens when you practice presence in front of a human being, in this case, in front of a guy? He's going to feel far differently about you. You're going to be able to identify things you would have never seen or heard if you were a little bit more distanced in your awareness. So you sit down, you practice breathing, you notice facial expressions, you notice your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations, and you stay with them. And you ask questions based on something that's far more present than what's in your mind. Doesn't mean you don't use your mind. It just means that you're able to fine tune a different way of expression, a different way of asking, a different way of receiving what's coming at you. And when you can hold space for someone and allow that person to hold space for you because you're so present, because you're really here and now. I'm not saying this is easy, but it's doable, especially with practice. Then you can go from someone who never gets asked on dates or never gets asked on second dates or gets asked on second dates, but there's no follow through, to human beings who really crave your presence, because this is such a scarce experience for human beings these days. The more you can be the one who offers that level of connection and fine tuning in your way of being, the more you'll stand out from the crowd. Now, you may have noticed that AI has expressed itself in the world. That means that more people are using it to create content and write stuff as if it were their own voice. And part of the challenge with that AIification of the world is that people are craving authentic communication. People are craving words that matter and mean something, that unlock your heart, that AI could suggest for this is not what's going to help land the message across. So my recommendation would be, when you communicate with human beings, this is the time to be as specific, as expressive, as uniquely bold as possible. So become a student of poetry, become a student of literature, become a student of art. Make sure that you stop LOLing in your text messages and start sharing with human beings how you actually feel, real emotions. Be the one who takes longer to write. Be the one who writes a handwritten note. Be the one who expresses the actual thoughts and feelings in ways that are compelling and different and unique, instead of the ways that shorthand that people have taken as the norm, but really feel empty many times. So make sure that you combine the shortness of a text with the thoughtfulness of a message that can really land across, or maybe a set of words that you can express that really mean something. And the last trend that I want to share with you right now that will really make a difference this year for you is to lead with what you want. This is counterintuitive because we feel, well, I want to be liked by everyone. No, that's not what you want. You want to be liked by the right human being. You only need one person, unless you're into polyamory, you only need one person to connect with, to spend the rest of your life with. So instead of trying to be neutral and have everybody like you, make sure that you share to the person in front of you what you are really going for in this life. That means being willing to be bold and say, here's the type of connection I'm looking for. Ultimately, my vision for a relationship is this. Maybe that's marriage for you. Maybe that's living with someone in sacred union without marriage. Maybe it's something completely different, but being willing to share that from the beginning and not go forward if that's not something that the person really wants is far better than to try to hide it out of fear that the person is going to run away. And then when you share it, date number 17, after you really feel attached to this human being, maybe made out with them or potentially even had sex, and then you connect with someone who says, well, I want something completely different. And now what do? You feel super attached, you feel heartbroken, and that could have been avoided in the first date if you had been bold enough to share, here's the vision for what I'm looking for. How does that sound to you? So make sure that as you take all of this in, that you really step back and say, the essence of this is authenticity, it's difference, it's boldness, it's in person, it's physical, and it's being willing to share more of you. Hope this is helpful, useful, and insightful. If it is, it means the world to me and my channel, because this is how I can grow and reach more women. If you click like and subscribe, if you find this helpful for someone you love, send it their way. And if you want to continue learning how you can attract the guy you want without the need for gimmicks or stupid techniques, make sure to watch the next video right here.